Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Richard and welcome back to the weekly Watchlist video sponsored by MarketSmith. And this week I have 15 stocks on my radar, and throughout this video, if you think I've forgotten a setup or you think there's a stock that I should look at, go ahead and leave it down below in the comment section. And of course, if you do enjoy my analysis, go ahead and leave a like down below in the video and subscribe to the channel. Dive right in, let's start with ABNB. Overall, you can see not the greatest growth numbers down here, but you've got tremendous fund ownership right here and high quality funds in there as well, as it tries to bottom here near 150 with some really tight action the past few weeks. So I'm looking for finally a push through this declining 50 SMA and the start of the right side of the space on volume. So that is ABNB. And moving on, we've got ARWR forming a stage 2 base here. Not the greatest fundamentals, but going back to a weekly, it did have decent growth back in 2019 when it actually was a true market leader back in that time. And you can see it had a long digestion period and now has formed another stage 2 base. So going back to a daily, it's forming a nice cup with handle here. Had a little bit of a fake breakout here, but it's holding up reasonably well and forming this handle with a standard breakout of 90.64. That's the pivot. And you can see nice increasing fund ownership and one high quality fund investing into the stock as well. And you've got a nice bullish outside day on this Friday, potentially setting up a breakout early next week. So that is ARWR. And moving on, we've got BYND. And this is not a pretty looking base. This kind of looks like SPCE. Last week, really strong volume moving up off the bottom, and then it just kind of going sideways and declining gently. So I'm looking for a push through this declining trend line. If you draw that in right here on above average volume, and you do have a 2-2 reversal starting on Friday off the 200-day and 21 EMA confluence. So this really isn't a play on the fundamental growth numbers. You can see there's not much here, but the chart shows a lot of power off this bottom. And overall, you've got a nice increasing fund sponsorship over the past 2 years and 2 high-quality funds as well. Moving on, we've got COUR CRWD, and you can see this has moved up quite nicely from when I first had it on my list back in this area right here. And now it's kind of pulling back gently to an increasing 21 EMA and forming a little bit of a consolidation here. So I want to see a move through this area, 44.5 or so on volume, and then a challenge of this pivot, and then this pivot as well, and then a move up the right side of the base towards these all-time highs. But overall, nice sales growth the past few quarters and some decent fund ownership as well, all ready for this recent IPO. Moving on, we've got CrowdStrike, one of what I view potential leaders at this point. And overall, you can see fantastic earnings, sales, margins, great estimates as well. Estimate revisions are up. Nice fund ownership increase over the past 2 years and one high quality fund in there as well. And going to a weekly chart, this is still relatively new. It kind of broke out of its institutional due diligence phase this past year in 2020, and now is forming a stage 3 base. So unfortunately, this is a stage 3, a little bit later stage, but overall it is acting well and holding up nicely right near this pivot. And I'm looking for a push through this level on above average volume, or potentially if we get a gap down next week, potentially on Monday, a nice oops reversal could present a really good entry with your stop loss set at that low of the day as it kind of takes out that opening range breakout. So I may make a video about that kind of setup. I think it's a really good way to get into leaders, especially during handles. So if you want to see a video like that, let me know down below in the comments below. But overall, holding up really well above this pivot and the 250 level. So that is CRWD. And moving on, we've got DocuSign, another potential true market leader, holding up right above a pivot, the 275 level here. And I would like to see it pull back gently here and form a handle and then push up on volume. I think that would be very constructive. But this power from the earnings breakout, or the earnings gap up rather here, was super strong and it really hasn't given much of a chance to get in. So hopefully it does form out a handle and lets us kind of establish ourselves, establish a position while managing risk before the true breakout to all-time highs through the standard pivot of 290.23. If we go to a weekly chart, that was set all the way back here when it really took off with Zoom back in 2020. So pretty much since then, it's been going sideways, forming a nice consolidation. And then you can see the power up the right-hand side here on good volume and overall stellar fundamentals, great earnings, great estimates as well, increasing fund ownership, and a whole bunch of high-quality funds investing in this stock as well. So that is DocuSign. And moving on, we've got 4 going back actually Looking at the weekly chart first, we've got a 3 weeks tight here within the stage 2 consolidation, so that's very constructive, and the standard pivot is 104.11. Going to a daily chart, it's been a little bit shaky here. You do have a failed breakout here on the 24th, but overall, a little bit of sales growth, not really much here. Not supposed to be profitable in 2021, but is just supposed to be profitable in 2022. Nice fund ownership increase and 4 high quality funds invested into this stock. Looking at the chart, I'm watching for a 2-2 reversal through Friday's high, as well as a break through the 100 level, and then a challenge of these all-time highs at 104.11. And since its IPO, really, this has been a super strong stock. I'm watching for a breakout from the stage 2 base. So that is 4. And moving on, we've got HUBS, HubSpot, and it's just now at the pivot of a stage 2B base. And you can see decent sales growth the past few quarters, good profits as well, good profit growth, nice estimates as well, increasing fund ownership, and a whole bunch of high quality funds investing into this stock, which is really promising. And what I'm watching for is a 2-2 reversal through Friday's high and a breakout to all-time highs through Thursday's high as well, and the 600 level. So that is HUBS, HubSpot. And next up, we've got MRVI, another kind of recent IPO. Great earnings, sales margins the past few quarters, great estimates for 2021, up 238%. And the estimate revisions are up as well. That's a great sign. And you've got nice fund ownership already and 4 high quality funds investing into the stock. And as for the chart, you can see it has broken out of the stage 2 consolidation, then pulled back hard and stopped everybody out before finding support at the 50 SMA, rallying up to 45.79 and now pulling back gently to the 21 EMA. So I'm looking for some reaction here, a start of a move up once again, a challenge at the 45 level, and potentially a 2-2 reversal through Friday's high. So that is MRVI. And next up, we've got another recent IPO, OLO. And overall, you can see fantastic earnings, sales margins the past few quarters, great estimates, nice fund ownership already for this recent IPO. And as for the chart, I'm watching for an undercut and reclaim of the 35 level, this high right here, the IPO high. And overall, it has broken out of the stage 1 double bottom. So maybe a retest of that pivot is in order. But overall, I'm looking for an undercut and then a move back up on above average volume. So that is OLO, another promising recent IPO. And next up, we've got OTLY, OTLY Group. And you can see very strong sales growth the past 4 quarters. Not supposed to be profitable within the next 2 years, and no fund information just yet. And it's just now forming its stage 1 IPO base with a standard pivot of 29. But overall, I like the upside reversal on Friday. I'm watching for a breakout through this Friday's high to confirm a 2-2 reversal on above average volume. So that is OTLY, another IPO on this list. And next up, we've got Path, another recent IPO. These have been working recently, which is why I have a whole bunch on my list at this point. But overall, very strong earnings, sales, and margins the past 2 quarters. Estimate revisions are up, although it's not supposed to be profitable within the next 2 years. Nice fund ownership already. It says no funds here, but if we show fund information right here, you can see you've already got 191 funds invested into this company. And minimizing that, looking at the chart, it had a nice reaction to earnings, up 125%. The earnings surprise was 140%, so that's very promising. And since then, it's kind of gone quiet here. Nice upside reversals a few days the past 2 weeks. And I'm looking for a push through these levels through 70 on above average volume and a very strong breakout. That's what I'm looking for early next week. Moving on, we've got Progeny or PGNY, and you can see fantastic earnings, sales, and margins the past 3 quarters. Really strong estimates as well for this year and nice fall through in 2022. Nice increasing fund sponsorship, but you don't unfortunately have any high quality funds invested into this stock. Overall, looking at the chart, it has pulled back to this 59.56 pivot here. Nice tight days on Thursday and Friday. I like that a lot. I'm looking for basically a breakthrough this Thursday high, as well as the 60 level on above average volume, and then a challenge of the 65.65 pivot sometime soon. So that is PGNY. And moving on, we've got Shopify, another stock right near a pivot like DocuSign, CrowdStrike, HubSpot. And overall, you can see fantastic earnings, sales, margins, you name it, the past few quarters. Not the strongest growth expected in 2021 or 2022, which is something to consider. This isn't going to be your super fast mover because it has already come quite a ways if we take a look at the chart, especially in 2020. But it is right near a pivot, although this is a stage 9, which is certainly later stage. So please keep that in mind. and the standard pivot is at 1499.75. So I'm looking for a breakout through that level on above average volume and potentially a 2-2 reversal through Friday's high in this stock. And overall, looking at the fund ownership, you can see a nice increase over the past 2 years and a whole bunch of high quality funds invested into the stock as well. Moving on, we've got UPST, the last stock on our list, and overall you can see very strong earnings and sales the past few quarters, except for this one right here. And this has been a very volatile stock, so keep that in mind. It's been very hard to buy on strength. Pretty much every breakout has failed, but overall it has pulled back and tightened up a little bit against the 50 SMA and the confluence with this prior pivot, the 123.09. So you could use that level, and that pretty much lines up with Friday's high as well. So a breakout through that high right here on Friday would confirm a 2-2 reversal. I'm watching for that to happen on above average volume. So that is UPST, and you've got really strong estimates for the next year in terms of annual EPS. Decent growth as well in 2022, up 40%, although the estimate revisions are down. You've already got 146 funds invested in the stock and one high quality fund as well. But I do want to stress that this is a very volatile stock, so please be prepared for the volatility. Manage your position size, your risk accordingly for sure. So that is UPST. And overall, this is my list for this week. Once again, let me know down below in the comments any setups I missed or any stocks you think I should look at for Monday. And from this focus list, my top 3 steps are CrowdStrike, DocuSign, as well as Pass. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks.